Yeah. I have been sick with myalgic encephalomyelitis for 12 years. And at a certain point, in 2021, I became bedbound. So I had been sick for a while, but I was still I had half my functioning. But then I became bedbound, mostly bedbound. And for a year, it was a real struggle being that sick. But after a year of just processing and trying to find a new mindset, trying to find some, relief, old happiness that I felt like had left,
Wow.
pull my life together. Yeah. So after a year of being bedbound, I started writing poetry.
Wow.
And I just ended up loving it, and I just kept writing and writing and writing. It was something I could do in bed. It helps me feel productive again. I would write as a way to cope with loss, and also just like escapism, writing about nature and things like that. I really liked it.
Wow. That is a heavy that's a heavy thing to face, and I'm just thinking right now of times where I've picked something up to try to get through something temporarily. To hear it become such a huge success is super exciting.
Thanks. Yeah. I mean, life can throw you hard things, but you can turn anything into art.
Yeah, It sounds like it. Was this illness out of nowhere? Was this something that just got thrown on your plate?
Yeah. So we got sick, our whole family. We woke up Christmas morning and we all had a virus, and we were all really sick, and everybody got better except for me. I was sick for 3 months, and then finally after 3 months, I kept going to the doctor over and over. And after 3 months, I was like, okay, it's gone, but it wasn't gone. I was still weak. I was still not back to normal. I still couldn't keep up with life. And it was a process of so many doctors and specialists trying to figure out. They're like, oh, you're depressed. I was like, okay, I don't feel like I'm depressed. That doesn't seem like what this is, but we tried antidepressants and that didn't go well. And we just, after seeing so many specialists, and after 6 months, you need 6 months to get the diagnosis of not being your normal self. They gave me my diagnosis. Basically, just my body never recovered from that virus.
Wow.
It was like, okay, you're just sick all the time now. But I was still, for years, I was able to do regular life. I just rested a lot. So it was just like half of my energy was gone.
Yeah. So I've never heard of it. Why don't you describe quickly what it is and the impacts that it has, just so that we can get educated on that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this is an illness with no cure. We have research on it, but not enough. And basically, my cells are not, they're all broken. They're not handling energy correctly. So I have to be careful with how I exert myself. And I still am partially bedbound. Actually, I've found some healing since whenever I hit rock bottom and I was super sick and couldn't do anything, pretty much anyways. But the main treatment is called pacing. So you just have to be really careful with your energy and stay within your limits, because if you exceed it, you can go into post-exertional malaise and you won't be functioning at all. And the post-exertional malaise can become permanent degradation. You can get really bad. The people who are sickest with my illness, they're on tube feeding. They're not getting out of bed.
Wow.
So it can get really extreme. People who have it at the mild level, they're still going to work, but then they're coming home and they're crashing and they're resting a lot. And so there's just this huge span of severity. But it's just an energy illness.
I'm glad I asked about that, because that sounds like I can totally see why you use the word managing. I mean, that sounds like a wow, because it sounds like you need to manage that for things to not get worse by the sounds of it. And wow.
Yeah, and I didn't. So it affects all systems in your body, and you start to develop other chronic illnesses and other complications. When I was diagnosed, there was outdated information that the doctors were still, they're like, you need to go do graded exercise therapy. And that made me worse. And they weren't telling me to stay within my energy limits. They didn't know that. But I kicked myself because I joined support groups, and it took me a few years before I joined support groups, because I was just like, I'm going to get better. I'm going to get better. And the people were like, you're listening to the wrong advice. The doctors don't have the right information right now. It made you worse.
Good thing for those support groups.
Yeah, any illness you get, join the support group right away.
Yeah.
Thankfully, the advice now, science has caught up. And they're not, they're saying don't do graded exercise therapy. It can make you bedbound, and they're telling you to watch your energy. And there's more studies, there's more things. They've got a couple blood tests now that are not out to the public, but they've been able to show it in blood tests. So hopefully we can get that out eventually, and hopefully they can start to make treatments from it. And there's a lot of natural things you can do. I've tried a lot of, natural doctors, regular doctors. I haven't found success, but I have and I haven't. Whenever I pay doctors a lot of money because insurance doesn't cover it, that hasn't helped. But I have learned from it. So I have sort of my own protocol, and I'm sort of, going upward instead of downward. So there are things, you got to be really healthy and be really careful with your energy. But hopefully as time goes on, eventually there will be a cure.
Yeah.